So we now will move to Liliana. Hi, Liliana. Liliana is actually part of the Munich Soapbox Science team. And today she will tell us about stem cells. So what is real and what can we expect in the future? I'm really looking forward to your talk.
Thank you. And hello, everyone. As Carolina said, my name is Liliana and I will work as a neuroscientist, but I also have a project where I deal with stem cells. And to start this talk, I would like to give you some information about organ transplantation. I would like you to know that there has been a lot of demand for organs, and about 150,000 people will be added to a waiting list for transplants every day. So this would mean that about 6 new patients will be added to the waiting list. There's 150,000 patients in this waiting list in Europe. I'm a bit nervous in case you didn't notice. Anyway, about 6 patients will be added every day. And this is quite problematic because in the end, it will mean that we don't have enough organs for all of these people. And there will be a lot of people that will actually die while in the waiting list. And this will account for about 18 patients that will die every hour waiting for a transplant. This is quite a serious problem. And as a note, on the 10th of October is the European Day for Organ Transplantation. So this might be a good day for you to do a bit of research and decide if you want to become an organ donor. Now, there has been a field of science that once it was developed or a bit more involved, then there was a lot of talk about how this could impact organ transplantation. And this field was stem cells. However, there's a lot of hype about stem cells. You might have heard about stem cell curing diseases in the news. If you had a child, you might have been asked if you would like to freeze the umbilical cord stem cells of your baby. So there's a lot of talk about stem cells. And the point of this talk would be to explain to you what are stem cells and what can we do with the stem cells. So we start off what is a stem cell. So stem cells, there are many types, but the ones that we are most interested in are called pluripotent stem cells. These are cells that you usually will find in embryos, and these cells can become any cell in your body. A stem cell can give origin to a liver cell, can be a skin cell, can be a muscle cell that you will need for your heart, and can even be a neuron cell. Oh, nothing wants to work with me today. Anyway, so my little neuron is here. So in my case, I want them to become neuronal cells for my research, but stem cells, pluripotent stem cells, have the capacity to become every single cell in your body. However, as you might imagine, these are very hard to come. You will need an embryo to get this type of stem cells. So very hard to get by. However, in 2006, there was a researcher, Yamanakis from Kyoto, that he found a way to make stem cells out of adult cells. So usually a stem cell can only become a skin cell. Yamanaka found a way to make skin cells become stem cells. This is a process that is called reprogramming. So basically we have a skin cell that I can take from myself, just doing a swab in my mouth. I can get a lot of skin cells. Then using the process that Yamanaka has discovered, and by the way, he won the Nobel Prize in 2012 for this, only 6 years after finding this discovery. So we got some skin cells from whoever, and then we forced them to become stem cells. Once I have a stem cell from this person, I can make whatever that person needs. If that person needs muscle cells for his heart, I will make some heart cells. If he needs liver cells for his liver, I will make some liver cells. So from this point of view, you can already imagine that this was where people came up with the idea that stem cells could solve the issue of organ transplantation. This was the entire thing that everyone kept talking about forever. However, I'm very sorry to tell you that this technology has 14 years in science timelines. This is hours old. We don't still know enough that we are able to actually make organs out of stem cells from patients. This is not possible at the moment, but there's still a lot that we can do with these stem cells. And I actually brought something for you of something that we do in my lab, where I want to share with you. So in my lab, we work with stem cells and we want them to become neurons. And in this little video here, you can see stem cells. And then by giving them certain components, certain factors into the food where they live, they will become neurons. And when they become neurons, they have these very long processes. They will form synapses, and we will have full neurons that we can use to do our research. And this is how stem cells can become neurons. You can really appreciate their change of morphology as they become more and more adult. Now I want to tell you about what we can do with stem cells clinically now. So we have a patient, and this patient has a heart condition. So what we can do is you can take a skin cell from this patient that has a heart condition, and we can force this skin cell into become a stem cell. This stem cell has the same problems as the patient. So it will have exactly the same genetic information. So this stem cell from the patient that is sick, I can make it into a heart cell, a muscle from his heart that is not working properly. With this heart cell, I can, for example, treat it with some antibiotics or some drugs and find out which drug works the best for this particular patient and for the particular disease that he has. In the future, hopefully, what we could even do is if we have the stem cell of this patient, we could potentially, if it's a genetic problem, we could potentially fix it using the CRISPR-Cas technology, for example, that you might have heard won the Nobel Prize this year. So we make it a healthy cell. Once we make it a healthy cell, then we can make healthy heart cells. These healthy heart cells could then potentially be implanted into the patient. And for this, I also have a little video to show you of such cells. Oh, no, oh well. Of such cells that you can see here. So if you pay close attention, you can almost hear the heartbeat. Boom, 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 boom. These are heart cells that are able to beat in rhythm to what you find in your heart muscles. Of course, these heart cells then need to be somehow implanted into the heart. So if you have a heart attack and you need a pacemaker, maybe you don't need an electronic in there. Maybe we can just put some healthy heart cells that belong to you and that we know your body will not reject. So for that, there was these researchers in the UK that created these little scaffolds, and they put some stem cells that they made into heart cells, and they put them all over this white mesh. And then what they found is that this white mesh is able to beat at the same rhythm as a heart muscle cell. The idea would be to implant this into the heart of the patient and help the heart of the patient beat exactly like we would have in a pacemaker. But in this case, this would be the same cells as the patient. So it's much less likely that the patient would be able to reject these cells. And these are some of the possible applications that we can do today with stem cells. There have been reports, and if you go to the social media and news outlets, you will find some news about stem cells that have been used to treat Parkinson patients, stem cells that have been used to treat cataracts in children, that have been used to treat multiple sclerosis. But all of these studies are all very new things that came out. Most of these studies will be from last year. So everything is very, very fresh and very new, and there's no certainties for anything. Unfortunately, with something that could be this life-changing, there are also people that try to take advantage. And there's even some institutions and some companies that will try to tell you that if you just give them your skin cells, they can cure your Alzheimer's, they can cure your heart disease, they can save the life of your child. And this has happened in a company from Germany, actually called Excel, that ended up being sued because they were selling stem cell therapies that ended up killing a child. So the point of this is that, yes, you should be excited about stem cells. This has opened an entire new field of science, has changed the way that we can do clinical research, and has changed the way that we can research diseases. However, you should also be aware that this is a very new thing, and we still don't know enough. So if you hear someone trying to tell you that they can save your child by doing some stem cell therapy, just do your own research, take a breath, and try to figure out if what they are telling is actually backed up by science. And with this, I hope you learned a little bit about stem cells.
Wow, thank you, Liliana. Thank you for this reality check. That is very important. We already have questions. I should say that all through your talk during the chat, everyone was complimenting on your props, so well done.